Okay. Diego, welcome. We are so excited to have you. Um, so, Diego, being yourself, um, giving the audience just perspective on who you are, um, do you want to talk about like your transition from going from Texas to Connecticut and what that was like for you?
Sure. So I feel like a notable point to make is me going to Connecticut was going to college and going to a small liberal arts college that has a very wide range of students from different countries, different backgrounds, different cities all over the US, people that grew up very similarly to myself, very differently. So, um, I guess the culture shock was more from going to from Texas to Yale. Um, and it's interesting because I've always loved the mix, and I've always, especially growing up in a family that is a blend of different cultures, it's always been very exciting to me to, in one day, maybe travel through um, those different personas almost. Um, at Yale, I definitely feel the highest energy just comes from overall youth, like being around people my age that inspire me. Um, So that's the things that keep you up at night, like, I know you're starting school next year, right? Or
Yeah,
college?
Hmm.
yeah.
Well, both
We
are.
Both of you. Yeah. So like one of the things you'll notice is, you know, as close as, when you live with your family, you learn a lot of things, about respect and listening and it's your world is the people you come back to, the people you share meals with. But when all those people suddenly become, a higher number of, like, let's say 100 people that you'll talk to every day that are all your age, it's interesting because you're all in the same phase of life. So there's almost a seemingly infinite amount of things to talk about because um, you've had different experiences, but your futures may actually intertwine quite a bit. So, I definitely feel in that transition it's just a different type of social interaction. It's, uh it's perhaps more exciting, less comforting. You're definitely pushed out of your comfort zone more, but in that process, your learning just goes through the roof, and you get to know people so quickly, and you pick up on things so much faster, and, they always say, like, you learn more about who you are, but it's not necessarily acquiring more knowledge, but you're also reflecting on your past as well. So that's kind of a big take on the last 2 years of my life. I'm halfway through my sophomore year, but it's really been about that, about connecting with people my age and being inspired by them.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome. It seems like for a lot of people, college is that time. They can discover themselves, but also get to know a bunch of new people. Get to know what kind of environments they may want to transition into, um, what aspects they want to keep, and things that they might not like, in terms of what they've learned in college thus far. So yeah, definitely interesting, on your take. And yeah, I'm kind of curious. What would you say that you've kind of brought to the college community, with their respective school? Like, what have you brought as a contribution to, like, being amongst your peers and things like that? Like, what kind of diverse, mindset or, background or things like that?
Right. One of the things that has kind of been irresistible, and in the most genuine way, I feel I have brought a lot of eagerness and collaboration when it comes to doing creative work. I I went to a big high school, but I met the first artists, like true like artists that were my age when I went to college, It I definitely felt that I was kind of an outsider, um, being an artist. None of my friends were on my sports teams. In the classroom, all my things were more STEM heavy, so that made sense. But you know, the environment in which I was surrounded by musicians, by dancers, by filmmakers, by people who were excellent writers, people who had these crazy tastes in all sorts of creative mediums. It just kind of created this mindset for me that I've been kind of um, trying to spread, you know, to the people around me that let's work on something together. Like you know how to do this, I know how to do this. Like let's put that together and see what happens. So in terms of that, I feel like especially being in a place that you're always together and you always have the resources that there's recording studios, art studios, dance studios. There's no excuse to be doing something every weekend that is making and collaborating. So that's definitely one mindset I'd bring.